author of The Holy Grail of Our Flat Earth and The Holy Grail of the Great Reset, and charismatic content creator extraordinaire behind the Flat Earth British YouTube channel, which I will link to. Martin Liedtke is a veritable force to be reckoned with in the, for lack of a better word, truther community.
The thing is about a movement, it has to go forward. And I'm not really the type to get entrenched in any one certain subject, because at the end of the day, I don't really know anything about anything, or even where I am, or what I'm doing here. I'm getting ideas.
I really just kind of do the stand-up comic routine on your lives and stuff, and while delivering all of this amazing information, which is a rare gift.
Well, I'm a Libra and I require balance, so it's Armageddon and Cataclysm balanced up with some hysterical humor. Makes perfect sense.
That's right. I love it. I love it. I do the same thing. It's like the cosmic yo-yo.
It's it's no instruction booklet outside of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the last page in there, it says, everything's going to be all right. And I'm going with that, I'm going with that. I was really, super interested on the work that I watched on the Toltecs. It was similar to the Essenes, but there was so much that I never knew. And I've been on a similar shamanic journey for maybe 40 years
Right.
now. But it's been me trying to analyze consciousness to explain some of the phenomena that I've witnessed in my life and trying to make some sense of it is what has been going on. And, say, for example, Sol, we don't reside here. Okay, this isn't us. Okay, this is our 3D manifestation, projection from whatever, the stars. I don't know, the holodeck. It doesn't matter. But just say this is not the real us. And the guardian angels or the hidden hand or religion or whatever it is that we feel that we cannot see that definitely helps us is us existing in consciousness in another realm. Now, what would be the definitions of that realm where we truly exist? Would we have an environment, or is consciousness itself the environment where we truly reside? Because this isn't it. So these are the thoughts I've been thinking this week.
Oh yeah, those are
where
good.
do we really?
Yeah. It's interesting I've been reading a very remarkable book that I've been taking notes in, and I was thinking about many of the conversations that have happened on this channel. I was thinking about your work, I was thinking about Jason's work, and it's very I wasn't sure we were going to go here so quickly, but the idea of this of the Toltec knowledge base, and I'm referring to a book called On the Toltec Path by a writer named Ken Eaglefeather. We're not so much maybe we're not so much in a holographic experience or in a ones and zeros experience as we are in a perceptual stuck place as a culture, and we're trying to break that perception free and move that focal point to another place where we can change the world, if only slightly, to a better one, where things actually, if they don't have to make sense, but they can get more harmonious, they can get more peaceful. And we can move this focal point, which is called the assemblage point, just inch by inch or millimeter by millimeter into better and better realities. And this is where I think we do have a degree of agency, certainly at a personal level, but even on a collective level. If enough people do this, it will slowly shift the assemblage point, because there's evidence that the assemblage point has shifted from, say, the Middle Ages or whenever that was, or whatever was going on. There is evidence that in earlier times, people thought about things differently. They saw the world differently. They were okay with the idea of fairies and elves and other things which were realities to them. And they had a different perceptual apparatus or a different perceptual positioning. And we have gotten stuck at another one. And our challenge is to move it back in a more holistic direction. What do you think of that?
I think you're completely right, and I think the more people that are awake to this thinking, then just by the nature of consciousness itself, it will. And I love the millimeter at a time, towards that goal. I think we've come along a lot further than we actually know, because there are millions and millions, I would say, tens of millions now of awake people to the Hegelian dialectics and what the media and everybody else has been playing at. There's a lot of people actually waking up, and more so over the last couple of years. So my father was a ship's captain. I got brought up by my mother. She was a single parent in a really crummy council estate in Cardiff in Wales, where she just struggled until the old man came home with his sailor's money. It was that sort of tale. And she brought up me and my sister, but we never wanted for nothing. And she did really, really well. I'll give her that. It's an alternative lifestyle, growing up on the ships. My father was a master mariner, so he was well established. Everyone sucked up to my father. So we had silver service on the ship, and I had my own steward and things like this. Basically my own butler. Things like this. And then I'd go back to my other life, which was in basically corporal punishment Guantanamo Bay School. Yeah. It was that bad, I'm telling you. They even brought the headmaster in for a Borstal, which is like a young offenders prison in Britain, which was really, really bad back in the day. Yeah. So I didn't do school, couldn't do school because of that reason. But the only time I did go was maybe there was a disco coming at the end of the week, and some actions. The only time I ever went to school. But I did enjoy the history lessons. So books was my only company. Okay, and my mother was out considerably. My sister, she left home at 16, so I was just on my own all of the time, really. So I was an avid reader. So I was on 2-3 books at a time when I was in high school, when everyone else is as dull as dishwater and don't know, I haven't got anything to talk about. It's like I wanted to go into school and and discuss, can we discuss Feynman, sir? And it's like, I don't, even my science teachers, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. It's like, what about quantum mechanics? Can we talk about that, please? Heisenberg, anything, please. It's like, no, we're doing molecular build-up. They'd be all base level stupid stuff. So they would never tell me anything. It was all too retarded for me. My teachers were too right. It was just torture for me to be in that place. So I knew I wouldn't be able to do any schooling or sort of fluff around with academia, because I can be rather, agonizing to be around.
You mentioned Heisenberg.
Yeah.
He has a beautiful quote that in many ways encapsulates the journey I've been on with my own research into science, the scientific method, quantum mechanics, very similar.
Well, that's the Copenhagen interpretation, isn't it?
Right. So all of these ways of looking at reality, quote unquote, the material, quote unquote, world. And yet Heisenberg, who is so brilliant, he said the first gulp from the glass of natural sciences will turn you into an atheist. But at the bottom of the glass, God is waiting for you.
Wow, did he say that?
He did say that.
You give me a shiver. That's amazing.
And so that really mirrors my own journey of consciousness. I came, out of the academy looking at the world in a very kind of left brain, materialistic, reduced, very disempowering way. And then through hardship, through illness, through various things that happened to me in the crucible of my life, I opened up to spirit and seeing things from a very different perspective. And now here we are.
Sauce.
Let me ask you, what are you up to these days? What are your projects that you have on the burner at the moment that people might want to know about? I mean, I'm waiting for the flat Earth British invasion. I hope you can make it over here and maybe twin headline with Jason at a conference.
Yeah, things are in the pipeline. I'm going to be doing stuff over here, but yeah, definitely, yeah, this is my time. I had a voice anyway. Somebody told me I was on a flight last year to Czech Republic when it was all of that nonsense going on. But I went away to stay with some friends, but I never got bugged. It was absolutely fantastic the whole time. I loved it. But the Higher Martin said to me, "Oh yeah, this is just a practice run from America, which will be next year." Is what he said to me. So I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense." So I will be coming over, and I got a lot of family, you could call them, over there, and loved ones. So I do need to come to America land to. Um, Home is where the heart is, isn't it? So
Absolutely. Well, if you come this way, please come visit me in St. Augustine, which is, theoretically the oldest city in this country. And there's a like a channel of guys from Florida doing Tartaria, Florida stuff and going
yeah.
and looking at the city here. And I mean, it would be totally right up your alley. You would find it very interesting. Flagler College, all of that would be completely on your wavelength.
Well, I would if I was over, like in the near future. I would have to call like, Flat Earth British Meet American side because I know people would travel far and wide to, if it was in some sort of, I don't know, a bar or something, just for a get together, so
Yeah.
I can meet all the guys. Because honest to God, there's just so many people over there I've known for years who I love. It's just, I would really love to. So yeah, that's in pipeline. I got other stuff happening. Got my talent show that's coming this week. I definitely got good tunage by Shiva
I'm
Shankar.
looking forward to this.
Yeah, Saturday tomorrow night, and I'm interviewing, like, to me is mind blowing that it's like, but weirdly, I would like to tell him this. I always had a feeling that I would talk to Tom Campbell, and it's like, it's weird. But like years ago as well, when I was listening to Coast to Coast AM, yeah, and I was listening to George Snorri,
Yeah,
John B.
yeah.
Mills,
That's
like,
Snorri. That's
yeah,
right.
3 hours a day, every single day, I would listen to Coast to Coast, yeah,
Yeah, I
just
remember those days.
yeah. So I remember thinking to myself, yeah, I was thinking, this is not difficult what you're doing, George Snorri. I thought I could do that. And I was thinking, and some of the people, some of the guests, I was thinking like later on, I wonder if I'll ever get to talk to them. And literally, a few of the people have been on Coast to Coast, my close personal friends. Loads of people have been on Coast to Coast I've had on my show, or I've talked to, or I've known. It's like, yeah, that's really, really weird. But I thought it, and it's actually come into reality, which it had, which is really weird. Again, you know, it's
I love it. That's
it is
brilliant.
sweet, and it's really cool.
Great. Well, you do have a kind of magical thing going on around you, and I just I want to see it go to the next level, and I know that I sense deeply my gnosis is that that's going to happen
Yeah,
very
I
soon.
sense it as well. I got like I feel it in my water. I got this, I've got this feeling in my stomach. There's just like turning away pretty much constantly just lately, and it's like it is this excitement and all of the rest of just all of the cool stuff that we can do with this information. The information field's there, it's in the water, it's right there for the taking. And we gotta, I feel that if we all found the right vibration or the right tone or key,
Yeah.
we could just light up. This is why all of these Renaissance pictures are showing us these, sainted people or whoever are all got these auroras all around them because they're glowing. Is because we are beings, creatures of 3D manifested, condensed light, vibrating, whatever they say, speed of light.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, the second half of my first book, Conscious Healing, is about this subject.
Really,
Yeah, it's all about
that's cool.
how that would work genetically, how you would fire that up from the inside through like a transposition burst where your genes just change in such massive quantities so fast that you literally transform into light. There's all kinds of really cool information out there about this sort of
I
thing.
think it's that. I think it's the tone. I think it's all about getting that certain vibration right. It's our vibration. We're creating it. I practice it within a vibrational sound work. I can do Tibetan monk throat singing really quite well.
That's not so easy.
I can do it. I can do it. I had a good didgeridoo, so I started, but I can't do that circular mouth thing. But I can do the throat. The the chant. I can do it. But I can do and like a non-audible. You can just make it out. Not an not
But you
anything
feel
that
it vibrating yourself, I'm
my
sure.
whole being. It's not just it's vibrating my whole being, not just like in my mind or in my fingers, in my toes. I mean, every atom in me vibrates, and it's euphoric. It's
That's
euphoric.
fantastic.
It feels absolutely fantastic. It does. You get goosebumps, you get the waves of feeling, and this is nothing more than us and our minds. We can release such experience just with our own minds of love and understanding. And once you tap in to what you are, oh my God, it's just like the world literally is our oyster. They don't say it for nothing. They really don't. It is so true. All of the things that happen with people, it breaks my heart when sad things are happening. But I'd like to say to every one of them, you should hold fast and you should not worry. There is always something around the corner. No matter how bleak it may seem, it is all for a reason. Okay, there is a bigger picture that is bigger than us, much bigger than us. Okay, and we just to go along with it because there is something happening. It is a lot bigger than that individual consciousness. And I tell you what it is. It's a one consciousness, us. There's only one of us here. That's it. And look what they did. They separated us by religion. Biggest troublemaker I got in my comments is religion. And races. That nothing makes me more mental than people going on about like that's even a thing. And just countries, borders, and all of the other financial problems it caused for people as well. It's just that'd be a lovely day when all of that disappears and we can all be what we're supposed to be. People, like I said, there is a block. People are a little bit worried. They're like, where's this going? Where's this taking us? It literally, if we all wake up, are they going to reset us and kill us all? It's like, well, what makes you think you're even alive in the first place? Can you define it? How do you know you're not dead? How do you know you weren't dead years ago and they've just been running a simulation? How do you know you don't die every time you go to sleep? How would you even know you're alive? What is life? They don't even know the origins of life. We know nothing, is what we know. So it's no point arguing it, really. All we can say is we are magical beings, and that is because of whatever this simulation is just a word for it, isn't it? I've seen it down what it looks like through the use of psychedelics, and it is geometric. And it has got a fractal nature to it, it definitely has. And if things break away, like that plant behind me, it keeps replicating each leaf exactly the same time and time again. And the human body, is exactly the same as a tree inside our minds. Our electrical synapses look like branches on our trees. The alveoli in our lungs look like branches on trees. Our literal our veins in our body look like they're branches on a tree. We are that closely connected to the rest of consciousness and nature because we are it. We are it. When I first got into, I guess, the double split experiment results, and then I guess a lot of the physicists were freaking out about the measurement problem and the suggestion of, hang on a minute, is this a marriage between science and spirituality? Boom. They got me. They got me then with that. I went through them all. I went through all the works of Amit Goswami,
I did the same thing.
Wolf,
Fascinated me.
all of them. I went through all. Amit Goswami was definitely my favorite.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I cite him in one of my books.
Oh yeah, he's a lovely man too. But he had a vision about the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and it was so compelling that I actually believe it. But yeah, so the whole quantum mechanics road was something that I was like, just it's not something you can understand really until you can talk about it, but it's just so mystical, isn't it? But again, it was just words for explaining this fractal geometric nature to this place. It was just, and it seemed then I got the understanding about all being sound and vibration in this place, which is why our words
Bingo, bingo.
yeah, in the Bible it says started with the word, and the word made reality, and there's other faiths that say this as well. So all this sound and vibration, And even quantum mechanics, like, which physicist was it? I think it might have been Bohr. Oh no, it might have been Einstein. I think he said, no matter how solid it looks and how permanent, it's not even there. And it does. All of this scenery behind me, it's very, very permanent. If I close my eyes, it's not really there. And the whole thing with quantum mechanics, I hear Tom Campbell's trying to redo the double split experiment and maybe tweak it for try and see if you can trick it. Try and see if you can trick it. Tweak the cameras, tweak the eye, to try and trick it. But this thing cannot be tricked. It's just and that just proves to me that consciousness is just one net, one thing, soup, if you like, that we're all in ether.
And the primacy of perception here,
yeah,
how that does dictate what we call reality.
Yeah, the wave function and collapse, the duality of the waveform particle. Can I prove that? Is quantum mechanics and the unified field theory a basis of all what's going on in CERN? Yes. Is it to take, the God particle and a crying Higgs? Oh, I'm such a hero. It turned my stomach. It's like, Higgs, it's like nobody gives a shit about, you told us 4 years ago you were going to find the Higgs boson, and bingo, you go and find it. Like, you already told us, like, and they don't ever find anything. Apparently it's just ghosts of where something once was because of the measurement problems. So it's all just BS anyway. So yeah, so it's just that little attack of the creator, I take it as, in my mind, because I'm actually a creationist, and all of this could have just been in an instant. There could be a start date, like in the 24th of October at 7:30 in the morning on a certain year, for example, when all of this just came into being.
Yeah, I mean, you're very, very similar to the Archaix model in that way, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there are obviously differences between your work and Jason's, but there are many overlaps. And I think that, if I could just say this before we close out here,
please.
I think it's very important to bring these communities closer together and to let some of the petty infighting go away and realize that we're actually fairly similar in many ways in looking at things, as being not what they seem. And that's a huge stepping stone and a major point of awakening and we should be happy about that.
Thank you.
The other thing that you can't do is to walk around thinking that everything in a world that is so contradictory and mysterious. We have to be open to being wrong. We have to shatter that mirror of self-reflection if it's possible in any way. And that's how we can move our focal point to different places and change our perception and reality at the same time.
Completely agree. That's what we should be doing. And these bridges across communities, this is a wonderful thing. We're all thinking the same stuff, by the nature of consciousness. Synchronicity is just like, you can't avoid it. It's like, can you see how synchronicity all of this is? And it makes it more powerful. There's strength in numbers, all of them, this is an important time, an important juncture in history right now. This is the crossroads. This is the make it or break it for us. Yeah. And it seems like that we've already won the game. It's just a matter of time. Currency is going to be gone soon. The whole game's going to be changing very, very soon. That seems like it's going to be a reality. Are we doing that for them? Yeah, because everything in the world you see around you is built by man, including all the materials that are taken from this place where we live. It is weird beyond belief. But yeah, I'm reaching across many communities. I don't want to get bogged down or entrenched in any one idea or any one ideal, because I don't think that's the way we're going to go forward. It's called a movement for a reason. It moves forward. And this, having the courage to think outside the box, regardless of what people might think, and then back it up with like good hard work and research and due diligence, that's something else. That's just mind-blowing next level stuff, which is what Jason brings as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to up in the level on this thing, moving this on now. We know we're getting more idea about what this place is and what we're capable of, which is a good thing. And there's some beautiful people in this, beautiful, loving people. And I'm just really happy to be a part of it. But I will probably hook up at some stage. my friend over there. You never know. You never know. Got
I
that?
really, really hope so. And
Yeah.
I would like to think that this was a get to know each other and we can do it again sometime.
100%. So you can come over onto my channel and do a hangout with me over on there. Be a nice event. We'll do something like that soon, honestly, because you know so much. This is great.
Yeah, well, I don't know as much as you do, but I do have my little areas.
Say that. You say that. I listened to you the other night, and I was just a total education about the Tolmecs. I absolutely loved it, and I was drawing parallels to the Essenes that I wrote about in my last book. And this knowledge, it's been out there quite some time, hasn't it? This is the way the reality is. It's just the
Absolutely.
control.
It's cross systems, it's cross
Yeah,
culture, it's cross temporal. It's really
yeah.
the universal timeless knowledge that we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it has been lovely to meet you. I felt the love straight away, Sol. I thought he's going to be a friend. You can just tell anyway with some people,
Oh,
can't
I
you?
felt that way too. I've always
Yeah,
loved your energy, and I knew that if we got together, we would have a good chat. And
yeah, definitely.
I do hope people will enjoy this. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. I want to encourage everybody to
Not too
go
bad.
check out Holistic Media. That's WHOLEISTIC media.com. That's Martin's World, and also find him on Flat Earth British on YouTube. Please go check him out.
Martin Liedtke is my channel.
Martin
Martin.
Liedtke.
Yeah, that's my
And
channel.
make sure you
And then
subscribe.
I got Celtic Tartarian channel is my second channel.
Celtic Tartarian. Yeah,
The
let me.
Celtic Tartarian channel. There's over 1,000 videos on there about how all of this antiquitech, etc.,
I
how
love
it
that.
all
I love that.
organically and veiled itself to us.
Yeah,
Seems the whole
Celtic
story.
Tartarian. I'm gonna make a note of that for my
Yeah,
show
yeah. So
notes. Yeah, do check that out. Martin has contributed massively to the Urban Dictionary with words like antiquitech. So just know that this is kind of cool. This is really really cutting edge stuff that we're talking about. So I encourage everybody to dive into Martin's world.
oh, thank you so much. It is. It's cutting edge stuff and very excited to be a part of it. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I'm very lucky.
Right on. Well, I wouldn't have missed this for the world. I hope you have a very good evening.
I will. Oh, thanks, Sol. I'm a great buzz off of you, brother. I really enjoyed that. So it's great to meet you. And we'll hook up soon. Make this a thing, okay?
I look forward to it. Let's do it.
You're in
All
the gang.
right.
We're in the gang.
We're in the gang. All right. Well, till the next time.
Till the next time, my brother.
Take
Okay.
care.
Take care, man.